I'll describe here in a minute how things will work today so you're not surprised by too much. And make yourselves at home, of course, here in this wonderful Classics Lounge. This will be our laboratory. They call it the Lounge of Destiny, and you'll see why today, with hopefully the discoveries that are made. Just so you understand, there will be a mishmash of text in here, and you can barely see, for instance, the writing here on this. All right, that's some writing. And you can see the linen that was used. So it's a combination of linen and papyri that was used. The writing that's exposed right here is called Demotic, which is a late stage of Egyptian. And a lot of texts that were written in Demotic were accounts and things of that nature. We call those documentary texts. They're not unimportant, but they're not literary texts. There will also be funerary texts and literary texts that are in this script. But this will have, because this dates, and we know from artistic evidence and all, to the early Christian period, and we know it comes from the region where they use papyri, we also are very certain that there's Greek papyri that's in here. And I've done some probing as well to see, and we've worked with different things to try to do this without destroying the mask. And I can tell you that that we're in for some interesting things today. So we'll do our best, and what will happen is, now you may ask, aren't you destroying the art? Is this unethical to do this? And so forth. We actually have a process that we've developed with my colleague again at Oxford to preserve the outer. A lot of these are gold on the outside, they're gilded. So we have ways of preserving the outside with a kind of like a fingernail polish type solution that doesn't dissolve in water. And then as the inside is culled away, replacing that with a linen to support it, and then pulling the text away. But we're still experimenting with that. And for the purposes here, this has been photographed and documented, and while someone who's a purist would say the artistic value is much greater than what's on the inside, archaeology always has the unrepeatable experiment, and you always have to make a decision as having directed an excavation to decide, I'm going to tear down a wall, and when you tear down the wall, it's not there anymore. And sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes you make bad decisions, and it's for us to judge and others to judge after today. But in so much that we own it, I can make that decision, and I curate that, and so that's the purpose. And we have been intelligently, systematically buying masks like this, and also beautiful ones, in order to go through this process, because I believe that the possibility of discovering first century, early second century biblical texts, the strongest possibility of finding them is in material like this, because it's been encapsulated in there by accident and preserved. And so I'm not a treasure hunter, but of course we hunt where we hope there's treasure, and so we do this kind of systematically. And that's what we'll do. Now the process today is I'll take this and we will dissolve this. And I've gone through a process that's been through experimentation, about 20 years of experimenting with this. want you to put a careful eye on it. Like those two hands look the same down there. Those two go to those two hands. Those texts are together. So let's make sure texts that are together are sorted together, and then we'll dry them. And what I like to do is put the demonic in one area, and then the Greek in Greek documentary and literary, so that we have them as they're drying in their separate areas, so that when folks go off, then we'll all dig into it to see what we can identify, and then of course the students will have to make the final call for us. We have then something called hieratic, which is a script, and then demotic was a popular, comes from demos, the word name for people. It's a popular script that was done for popular writings from about 400 BC to about 200 AD, and then it was replaced by Coptic. But this, because it has red, we get from the Latin word, we get rubric